Dan Illman, Matt Bernie are getting ready for race number 8 at Santa Anita on Saturday. It's the Grade 3 Midnight Lute Stakes at 6.5 furlongs, and our coverage is presented by DRF Bets. When you sign up to be a new DRF Bet subscriber, you'll access a $200 free bet. No deposit required. All you have to do is go to drf.com/join. Please use the promo code FREEBET09. There are some burners in this race, not surprisingly, with some Southern California speed. The number 5, Americanized, is your 2-to-1 morning line favorite. Masochistic, though, Matt, is the key to this race. Co-second choice at 5-2. When Masochistic is right, he's plenty fast.
He's capable of putting up an easy triple-digit buyer, if not into the mid-triple digits. He's even popped a 110 in his career at one point. The thing with Masochistic, you and I, we're both in agreement with this horse. He's brilliantly fast. He has a lot of ability. He doesn't have a lot of heart. Now, we're going to get a trainer change in here. He goes over to Baffert's barn. We haven't seen him since the first Saturday in May. I don't know what we're going to get out of him. Would it stun you at all if all of a sudden he ran off the screen, put Americanized away, and just said, I'm the best? No, but at the same time, I remember what we saw from Masochistic, and to me, at a short number, yeah, let him beat me every day.
I agree, because as you said, we have no idea what we're going to get. It's possible we'll get that brilliant 110 buyer performance that we saw in the Pat O'Brien Stakes all the way back in August of 2016, or we might get the dud that we saw last time out as the favorite in the Churchill Downs Stakes. He is brilliant, he is brittle, and yes, he was a little bit faint-hearted for Ron Ellis. Perhaps Baffert has gotten to the bottom of Masochistic. As we see from the Timeform US pace projector, our friends at Timeform US believe that Masochistic will get the lead over a fast horse in Americanized. I'm not sure I agree with that blue bar that says favors horses on or near the early lead, which is sort of an indication that they believe the pace will be slow. I think with horses like Masochistic and Americanized, they can't help but go fast.
Couldn't agree more. And you know what? I hope you and I are right, because I feel like there's a scenario where those two, there's no question that they are going to be forwardly placed, if not outright on the lead, the two of them. It's just more a matter of, I can't imagine them being able to scoop clear going 45 and change and then just being able to wire this field. Maybe they're more talented than everyone else, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be beneficial for the two of them to be out there on the front. I think it's going to be a pretty contested pace.
Masochistic now with Bob Baffert. Americanized used to be with Bob Baffert and Doug O'Neill, but he's found himself for trainer Simon Callahan. His last 2 races have been the best 2 races of his career. Gate-to-wire performance in the Damascus Stakes on Breeders' Cup weekend at Del Mar, was not embarrassed at all in the Cigar Mile.
Yeah, I liked him that day in the Cigar Mile, took a shot with him, and I thought he ran just fine. He's probably not as good as those horses. I also wonder maybe that mile distance a little bit too much. You get back to 6.5 here on Saturday afternoon. The question now becomes, does he need the lead to run his best, or is he able to sit and rate kindly and then take over? Because if he absolutely has to go, Masochistic drawn to the inside, I can't envision a scenario where Drayden Van Dyke lets Americanized just go off by himself. If Americanized needs to have the lead, I think you're setting yourself up for 44 to the half mile, and maybe it sets up for somebody from off the pace.
The number 3, Ike Walker, goes out for the great Jerry Hollendorfer. He is a hard-hitting former claimer that has won 2 out of his last 3 races. Step 1, those races against weaker competition. Step 2, those races around 2 turns. He has a lot to prove, but if there's a barbecue up front with the 2 major players on the lead, Masochistic and Americanized, it could set things up for Ike Walker.
Stamina, no question. This 6.5 furlong distance, a major question. And then you brought up the class concerns. This is a horse that, you know, every time he's been thrown to a tougher situation, he's just not quite that good. Unless this thing goes supersonic early, I have a hard time seeing Ike Walker win.
The ADA calculator picks up Javier Castellano. We will not fault him at all for his performance in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He was simply overmatched in that race. His prior effort, the Pat O'Brien, was pretty good, because I thought he made an early move into the teeth of that pace and then finished second best. Like Masochistic, his best race is plenty good enough to win. He's just had various problems that have curtailed his career.
You got to wonder where he is at this point. I know he's only 5, but you brought up the injuries that he's had. He's got bad feet. He had a terrible leg injury that kept him out of the 3-year-old sort of Triple Crown trail. He's a really, really nice horse, but Peter Miller has even acknowledged that in the past, well, maybe he's going to be a top-level miler on turf. Maybe he's going to be a one-turn miler on the dirt. Now, I don't know what his best game is at this point in his career. He's not without a chance, though. And again, if they get some serious hitting up front, he'll come with a run.
Cal-bred Smoky Image started his career as the goods. He won his first 5 starts, but it's now been almost 2 years since he's reached the winner's circle. He's got a little bit of speed. He can also stalk. I guess Gary Stevens really has no options. This horse just isn't as fast as Masochistic and Americanized. The question is, can he press fast fractions against better horses and keep on going?
I'm a little bit dubious. I liked him in the Cary Grant. I thought he had a big chance in there. And all things considered, I don't think it was a bad effort. But at the same time, if you couldn't get it done, and I know Edwards Going Left ran very well in that Malibu on opening day, but at the same time, if you can't get it done against those kind of horses, how are you going to get it done against these horses where you've got 2 legitimate burners?
Solid Wager always has a puncher's chance, especially when the pace is fast and contested. He came with a run in the Cary Grant behind Edwards Going Left, second in the Malibu on opening day. He's the kind of horse, however, that against top flight competition, I'm not sure he's good enough to get it done. He really would need a suicidal pace.
Yeah, again, we're talking 44 or sub 44 for a half for Solid Wager to have any chance to win this race. Although if you're playing any sort of an exotic, you want to play an exacta, a try, or a super, I think you have to consider using this horse because you know he's honest. He's going to show up with a run. The problem is he probably doesn't have enough time, and he's probably not good enough.
First time gelding, Ohio finds a tough spot for his return to the races. We have not seen him since late March. He's only raced once on dirt in North America. He was beaten almost 36 lengths. This is sort of a tab for later, I would think.
I would imagine so. Your guess is as good as mine. If he can stand up on the dirt, I'm going to bet against.
Let's take a look at our top picks, because while we respect the 2 speedballs, we're going to try to get a little bit of value. Let's begin with Tough Sunday. I thought this horse was just fine off a long layoff on turf last time out, and I agree with the pace projector. I think he sits 3rd off the speeds.
That's kind of my hope. The big concern for me with Tough Sunday, I suppose you can say, is he this good? That's a fair, valid question. I'm a little bit concerned about the distance at 6.5. You see he's 0 for 2, and it seems like he's done his best running at 6 furlongs. But that return effort in that turf sprint at Del Mar, all things considered, I had no problem with it. Went to the front, took a little bit of heat, and stayed on. Now he stretches out, second start off the bench, and when we saw him on dirt 2 and 3 starts back, I know it was many moons ago, he was in good form. If you don't think that Masochistic can still run that 105 or that 110, and you think Americanized is going to have to duel with Masochistic early, maybe it only takes a high 90 to win this race. And if that's the case, Tough Sunday, maybe he sits a perfect trip. I'll take a shot with him.
It's a shame that my pick, the number 1 Silent Bird, like several other horses in this race, have just had a slew of physical ailments. I mean, he won 5 of his first 6 starts, and then there was a little layoff before the Triple Bend, and then there was even more of a layoff before the Pat O'Brien. And the Pat O'Brien, he was kind of okay, 1 pace through the lane to finish 3rd behind Giant Expectations and Calculator. He was supposed to run in early November, and a foot abscess knocked him out again. He's returning with blinkers on for Mark Latt. I have to admit, I don't really love the blinker switch on Silent Bird, but this is a horse that if the pace is fast, he can sit in mid-pack, and he's okay in these sort of middle-distance sprints, 6.5, 7 furlongs. I'm hoping that Latt has the screws on tight. You really can't afford to waste a race on a prep with a horse like Silent Bird. You have no idea how many races are left. I have a feeling he drifts off that 5-2 morning line.
It's going to be interesting to see, too. The blinker's going on. I wonder if he's going to be in a position similar to Tough Sunday, where they're in just behind the speeds. You hit the nail on the head. This is a horse that's always had talent. The big problem has been physically. Is he going to be able to get to the races? You see Glatt's had a whale of a time keeping him sound and keeping him going. He's a 5, soon-to-be 6-year-old, and only started 8 times in his career. Talent, not the concern. The question now is he ready to go off the bench, and where is he going to be positioned? Because if he can stay close, I think he's got a big chance.
Matt's going with the 7 Tough Sunday. I'll go with the 1 Silent Bird. I'm hoping Masochistic isn't tight enough. I'll also be using the 5 Americanized as an A in any sort of multiple race wager. Again, if you're playing this nice card from Santa Anita at home, $200 free bet, no deposit required when you join DRF Bets at drf.com/join. Promo code FREEBET09. An approximate post time for the Grade 3 Midnight Lute, 4 o'clock Pacific on Saturday. Best of luck.